Hello everyone, welcome back to Pixel Village and I am Radha Krishnan. Yes, you guessed it right, we're going to be talking about the Sony lenses this time. Yes, lenses because we have three lenses from the same range here. We have the 7200 f2.8, we have the 7200 f4 and we have the recently launched 7200 Macro GOSS version 2. And we're going to be focusing our video around this lens because this is the most recent launch. And of course, we're going to kind of compare, the performance of this lens to these two lenses. And probably this video will help you deciding in which one to go for because all three lenses are currently available in India. And let me also at the same time tell you that the 7200 2.8 also has a version 2. We have the earlier version. So the version 2 will definitely be much better performing than this one. You heard of Holy Trinity, right? The wide angle zoom, the standard zoom, and that tele zoom that most photographers would love to have in their camera bag. Well, 7200 definitely occupies that tele zoom position for a very long time. And in the DSLR days and before that, it used to be 8200. Now we have the 7200 and undoubtedly, the f2.8 is one of the finest lenses that Sony produces in this range. Absolutely, there is no comparison whatsoever in terms of its performance. It also is heavy, both in your hand and your pocket, almost twice the price of the f4, but the quality is unparalleled. So if you are someone who don't mind spending that money and also carrying that extra weight, because these days, mirrorless world, we all talk about, weight and things like that, but you also want that 2.8 bokeh, which this guy gives you, well, then there is no comparison. This is the lens that you should buy and, like they say in India, aankh band karke. You can go and buy this lens. We're going to be occasionally using this lens during this video, but like I said, the focus is going to be the f4. I'm going to keep this aside for the time being, and I'm going to pick up this lens. Okay, and pick this lens. Right, the first comparison is the weight. Now, the older version or the outgoing version, but like I said, still available, is about 840 grams. Right? And this is about 794 grams, definitely lighter. And of course, it is a little smaller too. Now, while the length is one aspect, I must also in the same breath tell you that this is not internally zooming and internally focusing. So here it is. The lens barrel will extend while zooming, and here this will not, which means this is internally zooming and internally focusing as well. So now one big difference is for people who use these lenses. I've seen some crazy guys using a 7200 on a gimbal. So if you are someone who's using these lenses on gimbal, well, this guy will ask you to rebalance your gimbal every time you change your focal length. Only those crazy guys. 7200, I don't think should ever go to a gimbal, but if you want to use it, well, that's one problem that you need to address. And now, the other thing is that the minimum focusing distance, both at the wide end, which is 70, and the 200 end, this is not a macro lens, whereas the version 2 has amazingly close focusing distance. In comparison to this, virtually has no macro capabilities, but this has both at the wide end and also at the tele end. Now the next point is focus acquisition. Okay, for the 2.8, absolutely there is no comparison or competition, but the version 2 of the 7200 f4 is 20% faster than the outgoing one. It's made possible by 4XD, that is extreme dynamic linear motors in it, which is acting for each lens groups. It's also internally focusing, and because of these features, this definitely is faster, like I said, about 20% faster than the outgoing model. While the outgoing model gave you 15 blackout-free frames, the new version 2 can give you 30 blackout-free frames, so that's double the performance. Now, the image quality, correct, that doesn't really require any special mention. G Master lenses are known for its optical quality, but let's take a look at the optical quality of the 2.8 and the outgoing model and the new model. And the pictures that we're going to shoot are going to be with this A7 Mark IV. Well, as expected, the 2.8 definitely had no competition in terms of image quality and the quality of the bokeh. I think a 7200 is usually used to take that close up, and the photographer will definitely expect that bokeh. So at the risk of repeating myself, let me tell you that if that's what you want, there is no replacement to the 2.8. But between these two lenses, definitely the newer version had an edge in terms of the quality of the image, okay? And bokeh was, well, definitely at f4, it was comparable. Like all other models, the new one is also compatible with the 1.4x and the 2x teleconverter. And of course, the maximum usable aperture will definitely be affected. It'll actually go down depending on the teleconverter that you are using. Now, talking about the functions which are available on the lens body, of course, I told you that the lens barrel will extend while zooming. So there is a lock here. Once locked, it will not move out of place. Of course, the lens also will not operate. And it has 3 customizable buttons and the usual ones, the AF MF toggle button, full-time DMF on-off button, then the range control, then the optical image stabilization button on off, and 3 modes of image stabilization. So handheld shooting in a regular kind of situation, option 1. If your subject is moving, then option 2. And you and the subject both are moving, or you are panning and things like that, then use the option 3. You buy a lens because you want sharp, clean, clear, properly saturated, contrasty, nice image, right? Now, this one, if you know how to read an MTF chart, and if you look at the MTF chart of this new lens, you will actually see increase in the sharpness at the edges especially, because that's where the sharpness loss happens, especially in zoom lenses. So the new lens definitely is way better than the outgoing one in terms of its sharpness. Now, with the introduction of this lens, now there are 71 E-series lenses for your Sony. Like I said, all these 3 lenses are available currently in the market. So suit yourself, suit your pocket, suit your requirement. One thing I will definitely say, optics are investments. Make sure that when you buy the right one. Don't buy the one which you will want to throw away. Especially I'm talking about the cheap lenses which are available in the market, because you spend a lot of money upgrading to a newer body, and then you start compromising on your lenses. I will advise you to be a little more prudent and consider lenses as your investment, because it's like your eye, or it's like the tire of your car. You buy a supercar and you put a second-hand tire on it, well, the performance is definitely going to be way, way below par. And there's no point in blaming the camera body for it. So when you buy, make sure that what you're buying is the best. And most importantly, you're buying the one which suits your work style, whether it is 2.8, whether it is f4, whether it is an earlier version or a newer version. I hope this video was detailed enough for you to make a decision. If it has, we are extremely happy. So perhaps you can consider giving us a thumbs up, share our videos, and subscribe our channel. And I will be back very soon with another video. Bye for now.